Hey everyone, hope you're doing good. This week, as I film, a couple of mates have had their studios shut down. Two separate studios, one in video games and one in iGaming, online gambling. So yeah, it just made me think, because I haven't worked in a studio or worked for a studio full time since for the last 3 years, and I just think the evidence is stacking up. All creative people in the tech industry, they need to be working on their own IPs, coming up with their own indie video games, graphic novels, I don't know, Spotify shops with merch, selling prints, releasing albums, all that good stuff that makes us happy. I think as creative people in the tech industries, we all need to dive into it. It seems just as stable as working for a large company in a studio these days. I've rallied against AI before on my other channel, but even if AI doesn't do anything directly to the competitiveness of a studio, it still drains investment. Before AI was a thing, angel investors, banks and pension funds, they would invest in video game companies, VFX companies. But now AI is the new shiny thing. That investment has dried up from its traditional targets, its traditional destinations. It's now all into AI startups, which, will it be a big bubble and will it all come crashing down? Who knows? I think the jury's in. It's definitely here to stay, but as to whether enough people make enough money to make it a career choice remains to be seen, for me anyway. So yeah, I think, having a full-time job as your goal, if you're just starting out in the industry, and you're thinking, yeah, I'm doing all these courses, I'm going to school, going to university for this stuff, with the hopes of getting a job in a studio, in-house job. I mean, still go for it, but treat it as a means to an end, because it's brutal out there, honestly. Like in the tech industries for creative people, it's just brutal. Because I'll get kickback from pro AI people that say, well, just learn the AI and you'll be ahead. You'll be just as relevant as the people that have taken up AI. It's not too late. It's a good argument, but AI, if everyone can do it, if everyone can pick it up, pick up skills and stuff, it's it just becomes irrelevant. Yeah, if everyone can use AI, then the output of the AI becomes meaningless. Well, not meaningless, it becomes valueless. You're outsourcing your work to the cheapest intern on the planet, for $25 an hour or whatever. I don't know how the credit system works on these AI apps, but for a few dollars you can come up with some good results. Yep. But then again, you can't copyright the direct output from this AI stuff. You still got to alter it, and if you're generating AI imagery, you still need to know good composition, color theory, scale, perspective. You need to know all this stuff, all this art theory, so to correct the AI's output. If you don't know any art theory, then you're just going to look at your output from AI and go, oh yeah, that's great, looks beautiful. And then it will go up the chain, up your client chain with all your stakeholders, and someone will point out that this doesn't make sense. This person in the background has 6 fingers, what's going on? So yeah, anyway, I wanted to talk about diverting your goal from working for a studio for working on your own IP, on your own intellectual property. I didn't mean to divert into another AI rant. On my other channel, my traditional art channel, I rant enough about AI. Yeah, anyway, let me know what you think. Are you still going to go for that job in a big AAA studio or a big famous VFX house, only to be, if you are successful, if you outcompete the thousands of people going for the same jobs in these places, what's going to happen in 3, 6, hopefully 12 months time when the numbers don't add up, the share price needs bumping. That's why these studios close. They don't close because the people working there are not good at their jobs. They close because the share price needs a bump from for the next quarter. So they can when they report their next earnings in the quarterly earnings call. The easiest and quickest way of bumping the share price of a company is to get rid of some of the liabilities, and the biggest liabilities for most of these companies is wage bill of the staff. So don't look at these companies and think, oh, they must have, they released a bad computer game, or they the VFX on that film were rubbish, so they've been sort of shut out from the studios, or that graphic novel was rubbish, or that the ArcViz wasn't good enough. It's nothing to do with the skill of the employees. Well, very rarely it's to do with the skill. It's to do with they just want the share price to bounce up. Then the C-suite, the executives, can take their quarterly bonus and repeat the process. They can get rid of some people, share price goes up, and maybe look to developing world for the next lot of staff. Replace them with cheaper people, or AI if they're brave enough. But I don't know. I'd be interested to know if you're still set in getting a job at a big studio. My opinion right now is it's not worth chasing that studio job. That's my conclusion, and I would say invest as much energy, if not more, in your own IP. If you've got an idea for an indie game or a graphic novel or visual novel or plush toy, I don't know, Amazon KDP stuff, whatever, whatever digital product you can sell online, even physical, 3D printing, whatever. Whatever you want to do, I'd definitely spend some time and energy looking into that. Even as a backup, if you get made redundant suddenly from a studio job, hopefully it doesn't happen, but then at least the very next morning, you can just dive into your own stuff and crack on with that, and hopefully make some progression there before you get dragged into another studio job. That would be the ideal scenario. Okay, catch you later. Bye.